It's just gone lunchtime. This is All Angles here on eNCA. Good afternoon. I'm Masakora. It is that time of the day when we give you an update on how far some of the many stories we're following for you here on Channel Today have advanced. Here's your lunchtime update. All right, we have eNCA reporters Pule Letshwiti-Jones in Pretoria and Hloni Mtimkulu, as well as Aviwe Mtila, are both in Johannesburg for us. They all join us just to give us an update. Pule, let me start with you. No end in sight to the standoff between the city of Tshwane and labour unions, SAMWU and IMATU. We hear the city has now threatened to dismiss more workers, 150, I understand. What's the latest?
Yeah. Definitely. The city has said that through its city manager, it intends to write to the union IMATU to inform them to respond to the city's questions as to why some of their members have been reporting for duty, signing the register but not working. And of course, these are workers from Region 6 in Pretoria East as well. And the city has made it clear that failure for the union to respond, we could see another, dismissal process of over 100 workers as well. And this could essentially disrupt the city's services. But of course, we have spoken to someone as well who is saying that they're waiting for the mayor to respond to them and give them the name of the senior official who is alleged to be behind the whole infrastructure being damaged in the city of Tshwane, and of course trucks being torched as well. The mayor did have a press briefing yesterday in which they say they dismissed a senior SAMWU worker. And these are just some of the issues that have been affecting the capital city. But let's just take a listen to what SAMWU had to say earlier on when we spoke to them.
We have convened the regional leader and the provincial leader to try to find out who's this leader that they are referring to. Because ordinarily, if we're to follow the rule of law, when you look at Schedule 8 of the Labour Relations Act, Item 4, sub Item 2, it says if the employer want to charge a union official, they've got a duty to inform the union that we are going to charge this official for this kind of transgression. They've never done that with us. Therefore, what we see is we end up being speculate to say, who are they talking about? What is this thing that they're talking about? So far, we don't have that. We don't have with us. They have got a duty to inform us as a union. We are going to charge your official. This is what the official has done. So they've never spoken to us. But we are going to take it upon ourselves to write to them and say, can we talk about these things so that you don't cast aspersion to any leader? Somebody is saying senior official. I'm a senior official also. Have I done that? Am I dismissed? I'm not. So you cast aspersion as if some is led by a bunch of hooligans.
All right, Hloni, let me come to you. We have heard from Joburg Water about their systems showing signs of recovery following days without water. What are some of the mitigation plans that they've discussed?
Yeah, so we're hearing that some of these systems, for example, Mapleton system, the Palmead system, and the Aikenhof system that supply water to these different reservoirs have shown a little bit of an improvement. They measured yesterday morning at 6 a.m. and then measured again this morning at 6 a.m. again. And some of those, like Clip spec number 1 and 2, which we've come to know because of the issues that are happening in the south. Yesterday they were at 18%. Today they're at 19%. Yesterday Clip 2 was at 17%, and now it's at 18%. Some of them a little bit more of an increase from about 4% of an increase, that sort of thing. So there's a little bit of an increase, but the target number that they're looking at generally on average is about 60%. Then they say that if those systems are at 60%, then water will be able to pump normally. So as things stand, that's not actually happening. And so some of the plans that they do have longer term is to recommission the Mayors Hill Reservoir. That's in the works, but that's a long process, and that involves Rand Water. But they did say that Rand Water has confirmed that they are looking into it, and there are plans and engineers are looking into that. Another one is from the Joburg Water side is to have a sump retention system in place, which will essentially act as a buffer to the water situation now. And so they'll be able to have this buffer of water that is available for when the system is under constraint. So Those are longer-term situations. The issue now for most residents who've heard all of the sort of reasons, the explanations that are given, is we need our water, and we need our water essentially now, especially when it's residents that have been paying for this water and they're not receiving it. But Joburg Water did say that the decrease in temperatures from last week, that's decreased the demand for water and the consumption of water, and so that's caused some of that improvement in the system. And then also the throttling that they are doing, that's also helped to improve the system, however slight that it is. But let's hear now from Joburg Water in terms of some of their planning around that and trying to get things to that number of 60%.
If your reservoir levels from the bulk supplier are at those levels, then the system is considered to be normal. Everybody is getting water without disruptions. When are we going to get those levels? We are currently sitting at 36%. And we were at 33% yesterday overall. So some systems recover quicker, some recover slower. But if the weather continues the way it is, and we have the first summer rains, we can rest assured the situation will normalize. Because the main issue is when you have a heat wave, then high consumption happens, which affects the system to recover. So I can't say in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, but I'm praying that it rains within the next few days so that the system can recover and we don't have any major disruption to the system. Because if load shedding happens or something else happens within the system, it will affect our recovery plans.
I mean, slowly but surely the question grows. What is the point of saying you're going to a city like Johannesburg for greener pastures? Anyway, Aviwe, you attended the South African Automotive Week event today. It's usually attended by industry leaders from around the world and nations interested in advancing their domestic auto sectors. We have emission issues that we have made promises to deal with by 2035 with many other countries around the world. And the Deputy President was at this event. Does he say South Africa is ready for cars that use electricity instead of gas, for example?
Well, brace yourself for big changes in the automotive industry. As according to the Deputy President, we are yet to see more changes in the next 10 years than we've ever seen in the last 100 years. That's, of course, as you alluded to, that target that we have up until 2035 from the South African Automotive Master Plan, which suggests that we have to move from internal combustion vehicles, which is your traditional vehicles with their engines, to the buzzword that was the talk of the town there at that conference, which is the EV world. That's the electric vehicle world. If you look at the automotive sector in itself, it's doing actually quite well, Maseko. Just even at the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, there were even record-breaking numbers of exports, where we saw some 227.3 billion rands worth of exports of both vehicles and goods. So some, I understand, 12.4% of exports in the entirety. If you were to look at the GDP numbers themselves, you were to find out that, in fact, when it comes to manufacturing, the output that comes from the automotive sector, it stands at some 21.7%, with nearly 5% of the entire GDP that comes from the automotive sector. But of course, now we have to keep clean, we have to keep green. There were some industry players there on day 3 that suggest that they are looking forward to hearing the policies around the changes that will, of course, also lead to those incentives that they will receive, as well as the subsidies. In fact, let's take a look and listen to Deputy President Paul Mashatile as he delivered that keynote address, addressing some of those issues in the new world, the advent of the EV world.
I believe the auto industry will change more in the next 10 years than it has done in the last 100 years. This rapid change gives us the opportunity to make cars that are more capable, more sustainable, and more exciting than ever before. Together, as government and the industry, we should consider how to create practical, mutually beneficial, and executable plans that will drive the electromobility revolution that is conducive to the expansion of our own economy. We must create new jobs that are cutting edge and provide exciting employment opportunities, particularly for young people.
All right, that was your eNCA lunchtime update from all angles with reporters Pule Letshwiti-Jones, Hloni Mtimkulu and Aviwe Mtila. Thank you, team. Let's leave it there for now.